of your experience making multi-game Google Play? Could you raise your hands? Let me first begin by explaining to you about how Android OS and Google Play stand today. Today, Android OS is the most powerful platform globally. As you can see in this graph here, roughly four people out of 5 global users use smartphones that run on Android OS.
When we think about the time that when we first launched Android phone, it was in 2008, it was just a couple of thousand devices. So it's been a very tremendous growth for us. We're very happy with this. But what is more fascinating is the momentum we're seeing on tablets. Today, 3 out of 5 tablet devices run on Android OS, and the numbers continue to grow at a very fast speed. So with Android OS expanding more and more, Google Play platform has become a truly global one. So countries shaded blue here represent countries with the largest install bases. Countries with the dollar sign here represent countries with the largest revenue bases. Korea, Japan, and US are the top 3 countries with the most revenues. But we're focusing on the emerging markets where we see the largest growing install bases. And EMEA and Southeast Asia, including Indonesia, are the top leading regions. We're focusing very heavily on the emerging markets. Today, only 1 out of 4 global users have smartphones. And we're trying our best to bring the next 5 billion users to smartphone spaces. Android One is a phone that runs on the latest Android OS, but at a very affordable price. We have launched this product in India and plan to expand more to other emerging countries. So with our emphasis on emerging markets, Google Play is becoming more and more global every day. Today, Google Play is available in almost 200 countries. It is operating on 329 mobile operators and on 60 smartphone manufacturers. And the numbers continue to grow. One of our top priority is about the payment options. We want to make sure that the users have the best way, the most convenient way of payment, and that developers can be paid off of their hard work. So whether it be a paid app or free app in purchases, we try to implement as many payment options as possible. So recently we have launched PayPal service, and now it is available in 18 countries. Direct carrier billing has enabled users to pay with their smartphone devices, and today it is available in 25 countries. We've been working very hard to launch Google Play gift card globally. And what I would like to emphasize is that these numbers, half of them were added up this year, which means that next year it will be a completely different story for other emerging markets as well. So now let's talk about the evolution of Android OS. How many here have heard of Lollipop OS? Yeah, so this is the newest OS released by us, the Android OS, and it has over 5,000 new APIs and a completely new UI design, which gives a great user experience to Android users. And now I would like to recommend you to take a look at the Lollipop OS and get familiarized with it, so that you can give a great user experience to your users. Also, we are emphasizing more and more on tablets. So if you're making any apps, then we recommend you to make for both phones and tablets. And in order to make sure that your apps work really well on tablets, you can take a look at the tablet code checklist on developer.android.com. Now I would like to talk about how to make the apps and games more successful in Google Play, and also how to work with us on featuring process as well. So in order to see whether your apps and games follow Android guidelines, you can basically take a look at the core and quality guideline that is on developer.android.com. And here I'm going to talk about key elements that a lot of global game and companies face as problems or issues. issue I'd like to talk about is back button. The back button is actually one of the key features of Android OS. It has to be used in the right way in order to give the best user experience to users. So for example, if you press the back button, it has to either navigate you to the screen before or dismiss dialogues or pop-ups. If a user has been using navigation drawers, then by pressing the back button, you have to close navigation drawers. This is one of the biggest problems that a lot of game companies have, and this thing has to be considered in the beginning stage of developing your apps. Second one I'd like to talk about is iconography. If you have any apps for both phones and tablets, then you have to make sure to make app icons for both phones and tablets on different sizes. Also, I'd like to recommend you to make app icons that are as creative as possible. So if you look at the icons here, these are icons from apps developed by Google. And as you can see, there's no similarity between all these apps. They're all different in terms of format, shape, and everything. And the good thing about Android OS is that you can be as creative as possible for making these apps icons. And we've noticed that the more creative your app icons are, then the more likely the users will find it interesting and download those apps. Third problem a lot of game developers face could be the permission. If you want to ask for permissions from users, such as call list or information about your phone device, then you have to make sure that those information are related to the content of your apps. And if there's no relevancy between the content of your apps and the permissions that you're asking users, then you would have to remove those permissions. Because from users' perspective, they want to make sure that the information they give out to the apps are relevant to the service they're using. The last one I'd like to mention is the target SDK. Because we've updated our OS to Lollipop, we have to make sure to increase the target SDK to 21 on the developers concept. So these things were a lot of technical things that a lot of game companies and app companies face, and most common problems before having their games or apps that featured in Google. Now let's talk about how you can do to better support your users. So when a user searches your app on Google Play, this is the page that the user will see. On the top side, you can either see a video or a feature graphic of the app. And you have to make sure that the video is very short, but intuitive, and very interesting in a way, so that the user will basically have an idea of what this app is about. And this also applies to the bottom of this page as well, where you can put a quick summary of your app. And the middle part is what we call a reason for users to install. So here are app rating, number of downloads, and friends' recommendations. The user will rely heavily on this middle part in order to decide whether to download or not download these apps. App rating is extremely important. The higher the app rating is, then the more likely that the users will download these apps. You have to make sure to keep high quality of the apps and talk with the users in order to keep the rating of the app. We've noticed that the higher the app rating is, then the more likely that the users will download these apps. But app rating is not only related to the downloads, it's also related to the revenues as well. So as you can see in this graph, your revenue will dramatically increase by each star you get from the app rating. And we recommend the developers to try beta testing or QAs before actually releasing your games or apps on Google Play, in order to make sure that there's no technical issues or quality issues before being the actual end users. Now, globally successful game developers or app developers have been very keen on communicating with users. This is a Korean game called Gold Star, made by a Korean game company called Come To Us. And what you see here is the user support that we're giving to Japanese users. So they have been giving user support in the local language, and almost all of the comments that they've been receiving from Japanese users. And we've noticed that this type of user support actually helps increase your app rating as well. PR or marketing activities outside Google Play, then we recommend you to use this Google Play badge in the marketing asset. Because users are more likely to trust and download the apps that have this Google Play badge on it. Statistics show that they are 47% more likely to download. And if you have any web service that accompanies your app service, then you might want to consider using Google login system so that users who have Google accounts can automatically send their app to their device over the web. Does anyone here have heard of Google Play Game Services? Is anyone familiar with it? So Google Play, this is called Google Play Game Services, and it is a tool made specifically for game developers. Because we want to make sure that game developers can concentrate on making the content, where we, Google Play, can provide the other tools. So Google Play Game Services provides functions like achievements, leaderboards, save games, multiplayer, 15, and quest. It's basically a tool to engage users to connect more often to the game. We've noticed that users who have logged in the game using Play Game Services show a higher retention rate, higher DAU as well. And it is a free service. Last thing I want to mention is pricing. So if you're planning a global service of your games, then make sure to make the pricing in the local currency. And also localize the item listings in the local language. Because we've noticed that once the item listings are localized in the local language and the currency is shown in local currency, then 6% sales boom can happen compared to those who have not. So now I want to finish this presentation by the few things that we're working on in the future. So like I mentioned, Google Play is a global platform. We try to make it more global every day. This means providing rules to play in more countries, and also providing more payment options in more countries as well. I know that a lot of Indonesian game developers are having some trouble because of the limited number of payment options in Indonesia, and I hope to give you some good news in not too far away future. This also means that we are hiring more people to do more better support in local regions as well. Another thing we're focusing on is making good business models. So aside from the 3 business models we have currently, which is advertisement, subscription, and in-app purchase, we're trying to figure out more innovative ways so that developers can find better options to monetize their apps or games on Google Play. This is the end of my presentation, and if you have any question about Google Play in general or featuring process or featuring guideline, I'll be very happy to answer. Do you have any questions? Yes.
I just realized the direct carrying billing is available in Thailand. How does it work? Is it automatically enabled?
What do you mean? Is it automatically enabled?
Meaning, do we have to do something on our side, the APK, to actually enable?
So for all direct carrier billing, basically the first default system is credit card.
Right.
The user will have to change
Right.
to direct carrier billing.
Right.
Yeah.
So meaning in Thailand, I can they actually option for the direct carrier billing.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. So it's basically automatically when we integrate SDK, so it's automatically enabled.
So there's nothing that the developer has to do. It's just
Okay.
done on the Google
I see.
side.
Right. Wow. Didn't know that.
Any other questions?
Is there another question? I want to ask if you have engaging publicity Play Store and we want to make a video on Play Store, is there anything we can do, or is there any requirement to make our apps with the video on Play Store?
So basically, the quality has to be good, of course, but basically we require the apps to be on 4.0 in terms of that rating. And also it has to apply all the technical guidelines that I mentioned, such as button issues and target SDK and all those stuff. And we have to make sure that the app does not violate our policy. So technical guidelines, policy violation, and the portion of the app. Those are the three elements to make it happen.
Is there any requirement of minimum
Download? Well, there's no requirement of that. Because if there's a requirement of download, it will mean that only big companies will get the chance to get featured. We don't want that to happen. There's no download requirement for that.
In terms of timeline of the app being featured, is it like deadline after 6 months you will not feature it anymore? Or is it the app's already launched? So how long can it still be featured in the future?
So typically, I'm from the Korean side, Korean video side, so typically how it works in Korea is that we try to feature the game or app when the games are launched.
In Korea?
Because in Korea, companies tend to put most marketing budget on the launch of the games. So we try to help them by featuring the games at the beginning. But it's not limited to the beginning at all, because if the game has like updates or like big marketing activities or promotions, then we can also feature on that time as well. So it's not limited to only once or just the launch of the game or something like that. It could be several times.
Do you work with developers because like let's say they do soft launches in test market, like Singapore or Australia and whatnot? Let's say their targeted audience is actually US. So how does that work in terms of setting the time? Do you talk to the developer to set when they actually prefer to be featured, or is this like from your side only?
So we don't. So your question is whether we target like specific date.
Whether you talk to the developer to set a specific date?
No, we don't tell them to set the date because it's really depending on their schedule.
Okay.
So because when we want to make sure that the game is free of bugs or technical issues before it gets featured. So once they tell us that they're ready, then that's the timeline that we set.
So basically, from your side, you'll tell them that your app is it's okay to be featured. You tell us when you want to be featured, so not.
So when we review, after we review the games and apps, then we tell them that this game and app will be ready to get featured, and then we'll discuss about the dates with the developers.
Okay, is there any other question? Okay, maybe this is the end of the question and answer session. Let's give another round of applause to our remarkable speaker. Please remain on the board. We would like to give you the token of appreciation. Okay. And we would like to have some photos. Alright, thank you, Miss Emily. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, this is the end of our last session. Sadly, we come to the end of our insightful speakers. Hope the knowledge we gained today is vital for the future. And after this, we would like to invite everyone to proceed to the banquet hall to enjoy the rest of the event. We still have GDG 2014 award in a short time. So on behalf of the organizing committee,